what made you want to write this song? Where were you at? What season were you in your life where this song came about?
As I started kind of deconstructing and decolonizing my faith, I began to see how much white supremacy had invaded even my Christianity, right? Even my view of how I saw myself, almost feeling bad or made to feel bad for finding confidence and pride in like who I am as a Black man. The attacks of me speaking on anything of Blackness, I think I was part of this talk with Rapzilla during the pandemic, right? And they started this thing called Community in Chaos. And I started speaking on Christian rap fans have a really hard time having empathy for Black people, and which is the craziest thing in the world, because you guys are fans of something that was created by Black people. You know what I mean? And so having that, so I had made that statement then. Several months later, almost a year later, puts another statement out, or puts an article out with the title. I don't know why they waited so long, but they put the title out saying, J. Crumb says Christian hip hop fans don't care about social justice, right? They set me up, right? But what I noticed, the responses from that article, especially on Facebook, were nuts. It was like people saying like, there is no social justice, and I'm tired of this social gospel, and what about Black on Black crime, and all this type of stuff, man. And so just seeing how much white supremacy, how much of a lack of empathy, how much of all of that is within the Black church. And then not even that, I began to unpack my own experiences some more of when I was going to white evangelical churches. I went to one and they were like, I have a video up on my YouTube where I really unpack with this church. I really realized that, okay, this is more like a cult, right? Like you start going through that bite model, you're like, oh, this is exactly, this is a cult. You know what I mean? And so you find out that like, damn, like I'm part of this thing. And like, there were literal attacks on my Blackness while I was there. Literal, like, it wasn't even like mad. There was no like microaggressions. There was like aggressions, like, yo, Crumb, stop being so Black. Like literally that being said to me, I started unpacking these things. I had suppressed a lot of this stuff, bro. I had suppressed a lot of it. It starts, I start remembering all this stuff. Like broke that in me, right? And then even realizing that even when you come to churches and they tout diversity, right? A lot of times, most times, it's not diversity. Hey, Blackie, you need to, when you come to us, right? You need to basically do what we do, but with a Black face. So when we're gonna put you on our worship team, but you gonna sing Hillsong. Yeah, you can preach, but no, you're not gonna preach like, how you came up, right? You gonna preach like you better sound like Brian Houston. You better sound like you better preach like John Piper. You better preach like this. So much to the point where like they look at Blackness, right, and even Black church culture as if it was primitive, as if it was not as polished, as if it was less intellectual. Especially in reform circles, you see how they speak about not white people. I'm sorry. You see how they speak about Black pastors, Black culture, Black communities. You see how they talk about it, like we're primitive, like we're less than, like we're just lawless, unintelligent. Fornicators and adulterers and all of that, drug addicts. Y'all made Jesus white. Everything that you look at, right? Everything that you look at, if you look at where he was from, there's nothing in the scriptures that would tell you that Jesus was white. You made him white because why? Because that helps reinforce your view of white being superior, right? Mm-hmm. Because if Jesus looks like me, and you feel like, oh, you're in trouble, right? Because everything, all the entitlement, all of that, it now goes away. Now now your feeling of you being able to tell me how I need to do something, and your view of feeling like, man, the way I do things is better and I need to help these poor Black people, it now goes away because the person you worship no longer looks like you. I went to a church where them niggas was giving the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Just like, what is that? Where does that come from? Like, how does that happen? American Christianity, in its origin, was designed and created to help enslaved people know their place.
I tell people the gospel was not found in a Vatican. It's African. Don't get it twisted. What we have contributed to the worldwide crusade of what it is to be a disciple. I don't really fight for the term Christian too much, but to be in discipleship, what we have contributed to the masses, you know what I'm saying? The masses, it cannot be caught in your cute little textbooks. So I really don't spend too much time arguing with people, especially when they got a Jesus on their wall that looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really don't got time for it. Like, that's just me. Trying to push a white Jesus on me in itself is an act of aggression. That is, you are literally trying to tell me, hey, your Lord and Savior looks like this.
Yeah.
Your Lord and Savior looks like this. He can never look like you, because why would your Lord and Savior look like it came from what you came from?
Clarity comes out of that space. Same Monsters, when I wrote my alternative project, that came out of that space. No More, that came out of that space. You know, so you know, all of these songs, and Trust and Believe, there's way more, but out of that space, that's where all of these songs start coming, because, you know, that's my voice. That's how I communicate, you know, these things. And so that's where a lot of this music, you know, clarity and a lot more that you're going to be hearing, it came out of that.
Beat up like hit my chan, GV, that's my clan. I abuse ya. I'm that Kaya Super with them kicks like Hayabusa. While I snap the neck of a Satan while he nod his head to this music. We the movement, good vibes sent by God. We the truest.